So now I'd like to introduce to you, again, someone who has worked so hard on this, someone that we all know and all love, Congressman Steve King. Congressman King grew up in law enforcement in Storm Lake, Iowa, and represents the 4th District of Iowa. He started King Construction with one bulldozer in 1975 and then served in the Iowa State Senate for 6 years. We all know him as an advocate in the House. We love him. We're so glad he's here. Congressman King!
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you, all of you, for coming so far as California. California's here. I know Kentucky's here. I know Virginia's here. South Carolina's here. I'm going to stop guessing. America's here. You are America. You built America. And I may be the only one here today that actually is happy that it's going to be 100 degrees in Washington, D.C. I think I am, actually. But I went back and reviewed this morning. It's off of Abraham Lincoln's second inaugural address, March 4th, 1865. And he said, "If God wills it, every drop of blood drawn with the lash shall be paid by another drawn with the sword." If God wills it. And he wills us to be here today. And it isn't the blood alone. It's the sweat of the American workers that have built this country. So I think it's altogether fitting and proper that we should sweat here today as we stand up for the American workers. And as we remember our history and what built this country. Now think of our founding fathers back there toiling in those years, or getting up to July 4th of 1776. Think what they had to do. They had to take this concept of rights that come from God. That was a new concept for most of the people in that era. And then they had to understand it and articulate it and sell it to the colonists up until 1776, and only about a third of them actually embraced it and loved it. A lot of them didn't much understand it, and the Tories opposed it. But they inspired the American people to step up and declare our independence from King George. And then fought a war and spilled blood, and also drained sweat so that Old Glory could fly over us today. And I can hear that beautiful rendition of our national anthem. So beautiful that I don't know if I need to take my tape of Whitney Houston back out again. It's beautiful. And I can hear this prayer before the American people, the American worker, that inspires me and lets me know why we're here, why we marched here together today. And I look back across our history, and I have in my shirt pocket here, this is a New Testament old Bible. If you come to my office, you'll see this Bible displayed on my coffee table. My family, on my mother's side of the family, were abolitionists. They helped form the Republican Party. They paid their price. My great-great-grandfather, 5 times great, Samuel Whiting, was killed in the Civil War as part of the price they paid to put an end to slavery. His cousin John Richardson, they went to war together. This is the Bible that my great-uncle, 5 times great, carried in his shirt pocket for 3 years during the Civil War. 3 years. And there's a little of my sweat on it today for marching with all of you. But I'm sure there's a lot of sweat on it for all the time he marched to put an end to slavery, to emancipate people, because they believe profoundly, and we believe here today, we are all God's children, created in His image. And He calls us to this task, to be here today. And He calls us to work and have faith and honor God and honor the rule of law and honor our country and honor our country's history and the sacrifice that brought us to this day. One of the things that they fought for My great-grandfather 5 times great, my great-uncle 5 times great. And by the way, my Uncle Everett, who was just had his 90th birthday and was wounded at the Battle of the Bulge, all, and millions more, paid that price, not so we could take the rule of law and shovel it off the side because of political inconvenience, not so we could hand amnesty over to people because that helps some folks over here on the other side of the aisle politically get more voters. You don't sacrifice the rule of law so you can have undocumented Democrats. That makes no sense. We don't have a political immigration policy, and we shall not have a political immigration policy. We must have an immigration policy that's designed to enhance the economic, the social, and the cultural well-being of the United States of America. Because we stand here today all as Americans. And we want opportunities for all Americans. And today, if you'll go to the website of the Department of Labor and go look at the categories and get out your calculator and add it up, and then you add to that the unemployment number, you'll find that of working age Americans, there are over 100 million Americans of working age who are simply not in the workforce. Over 100 million. And if you look at the highest percentages of unemployment rates, they are in the lowest skilled jobs. So we have people that are unskilled, underskilled, unemployed, and they're born American citizens, or they're naturalized American citizens, or they're legal green card holders that respected the rule of law. And they're being cut out of this process because somebody can push a political agenda for political gain, and somebody else can hire cheap labor and get you and your labor and your tax money and money borrowed from China to subsidize it. So I know who it is that supports illegal labor and the legalization of amnesty. 3 kinds of people. Elitists who want cheap labor to clean their houses and mow their lawn. Then you have power brokers politically that know that it's cheap votes. And then you have employers of illegal labor who want more cheap labor. Those 3 things. Well, Milton Friedman said you cannot have a welfare state and open borders. He's right. And when I have this discussion with Art Laffer, whom I greatly respect, and he's a very respected American economist, he says, okay, if you don't want to have that, then end the welfare state. Well, what do you think is easier? Close the border and enforce the rule of law, or end the welfare state? Pretty easy. Close the border. We can do it. We're spending, this isn't complicated either. We don't need a 3-year study to figure out what to do. The southern border is this. We're spending $6.554 million a mile to secure that southern border. That's, by the way, you get a 10-year contract to do that. So that's $65 million and a half for 10 years. Anybody here that wouldn't take on a mile of that border for a $65 million contract? Will you guard that border for me if I give you $65 million? Can you get me more than 25% efficiency if I give you $65 million? Will you do it for $1 million? See, just a simple equation. We've got common sense here. We can understand this. We don't need to pour $40 million in on the southern border and end up with 40,000 boots on the ground. If we build a fence, a wall, and a fence and use the resources that we have, we can secure that southern border. We can enforce the interior law in the United States. The president has refused to do that. And he has said, here are these 4 categories of people against which the law will never be enforced as long as they don't commit a felony or 3 mysterious misdemeanors. The president took an oath of office under Article 2, Section 3 to take care that the laws be faithfully executed. Now, we know that faithfully executing those laws doesn't mean kill the law. No, that means enforce the law. That's what the Constitution says, enforce the law. The president gave his oath of office, on a Bible, by the way. But now we can trust him that he will not enforce any law that he disagrees with or doesn't like. So why would we think we can pass enforcement out of the House and send it to the Senate and think it's going to get to the president's desk? If enforcement gets to the president's desk in any configuration, it will have with it amnesty. And the president will sign any amnesty bill and he'll not enforce any enforcement. Amnesty, we need to understand what it is. Amnesty is a pardon and a reward. Amnesty is a pardon for immigration lawbreakers coupled with a reward for the violation of the law. That's what amnesty is. I'm opposed to amnesty. I am for a smart immigration policy that enhances the economic, social, and cultural well-being of the United States of America. I'm for restoring the pillars of American exceptionalism, restoring the rule of law. And I want to tell you that if we set the rule of law aside because our heart tells us we should exempt valedictorians, by the way, they're all apparently valedictorians if I listen to the other side. If we should exempt them from the rule of law and amnesty becomes the rule, you can never restore the rule of law with regard to immigration again. That means we have perpetual amnesty for immigration lawbreakers. And the Senate Gang 8 bill has in it retroactive amnesty for people who were deported. It says, y'all come back now, you hear? We should not take these people seriously. If they've thought it through, they have contempt for you. They have contempt for common sense and disrespect for the law. We're here today to stand up for free enterprise, for opportunities for the American workers, for God-born, country national-born, and God-blessed American workers. And we're all American people here in this place, and there's no place in the world, no country you can come to and become of that nationality except America. Let's keep it legal, let's respect the rule of law, and let's have a smart immigration policy, and let's remember the price paid by those who went before us. God bless you all. Thanks for coming here today.